What's good, YouTube? Y'all know who it is, even though you probably don't. My name is Robert Johnson, and you should trust me because I'm strong and have credentials.
I believe him, yo. I don't know why, but I do.
Anyway, I got a different type of video for y'all. Instead of the lifting, I'm going to be doing a technical video today on 5 things you should consider before getting back into the gym. I'm not even gonna clickbait you like that. I'm gonna tell you what they are right off the rip. Your goals, if you have any prior contraindications to exercise, meaning any injuries, you're overweight, anything of that sort. Plateaus, we have to discuss plateaus. Programming, and then choosing a split. So everybody wants to know, why do you start with goals? Goals are measurable and attainable things over time. So if you set a goal, you're more likely to complete it, hopefully, for most people. Now, a lot of people don't understand necessarily what it means to set a goal in the gym. So say they've never picked up a weight in their life. They set a goal of a 315 bench press. So they're sitting there pondering to themselves, thinking, I really want to bench 315. I'm gonna join the gym. I'm gonna go bench 315. But what they don't think about is, at their current body weight, have they even done a push-up? Can they do a push-up? Are you able to produce enough force to push your body weight off of this ground right now? Okay, now you know where you start at. You gotta establish your starting point and use that as a reference to know where your training's gonna go. You're gonna need enough volume to increase your bench press hundreds of pounds, which definitely would mean weeks and weeks and weeks in the gym. And understanding this from the beginning and not thinking that in 6 months, if I'm not at 315, then I quit, then you would fare off a lot better. So with your goals, you wanna keep in mind the long-term desired adaptations from the exercises that you use. So with benching, obviously you're wanting a bigger chest and also realizing that your shoulders and triceps play some sort of factor in your lifts. So by increasing the strength of the body parts that perform the lift, you are going to get stronger. And that is what your focus is. Your goal is now to get these muscles stronger. Even though your goal is 315, but how to get 315 is by getting these muscles stronger. So understand what you're actually asking yourself to do. Now your goals, they can be anything. They can be anything. You could have a goal of being able to walk 2 miles without stopping. You can have a goal of, like I said, 315 bench press. You can have a goal of a 495 squat, a 225 power clean. Whatever your goal is, just set it and know that you have to hit it. You can put a timetable on it if you understand that is something achievable. But what you don't want to do is set a timetable on a goal that is not possible. Setting a timetable that is out of reach and out of touch with what could actually happen from your training. That would discourage you. Say you say, I'm benching 185 right now, but I want to bench 315 in 6 months. It's like, whoa, hey, wait a second there, buddy. Unless you've never picked up a weight and touched 185 and weigh 250, you're probably not getting to 315 in 6 months. Let's just scrap that right now. It takes time to do these things. You have to be willing to put in the time and do the same exercises over and over and over again, because that's how you develop familiarity and get better at what you're doing. Also, with your goals, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help to hit them. You're struggling in a department, ask for help. It doesn't hurt to grab a trainer, grab anybody at the gym, especially when we first get back. They're gonna understand that there's a lot of people who haven't worked out with weights in a long time. They might need a couple pointers or two. Don't be afraid to ask for those pointers. Make sure your form is perfect. Always have perfect control of the weight, slow descent, rapid ascension. It's okay to have a tempo. I like to have a tempo as well for some of my lifts, but you really should be focusing on the contractions, because at the end of the day, that's all your body knows. So with your goals, you have to keep in mind that in order to induce a training stimulus great enough for your muscle to adapt, so basically, in order for your muscle to continually adapt, you have to have an amount of force on it that was greater than prior experience in order for it to grow. So initially when you come in the gym, you can do 10 reps on a bench press and you might be sore the next day. You come in next time, you can do 2 sets of 10, maybe 3 sets of 10, even at a light weight. But because you don't do this, you don't perform this on a daily basis, your body is not used to it and you'll be sore from it. So you have to keep in mind where you're coming from and where you want to go. Also, when you start lifting, you want to focus on things like auditory and visual cues. Break down the lifts that you're wanting to get better at into components and make sure you execute each component of the lift flawlessly. And that will be the most efficient way to reaching your goal. Now you might be wondering, what were my goals when I first got in the gym? So a little background about myself. I played high school football. I was a pretty good athlete in high school, but I got injured my junior and senior year. So at the time, I want to say I was benching in the low 200s.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
And I might have even gotten up to a max of 225 my senior year. So I wasn't a weak individual because I was about 140 something pounds at the time. 147 pounds senior year. I won't forget that. 147 pounds senior year, and I was able to hit 225 eventually. At some term during the off-season workouts or right before the season, at some point I did hit it.
Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
But basically I built from there. So once my athletic career was over, I decided that I wanted to create myself a foundation of lifting by focusing on compound lifts, which I will get into later, and just developing a foundation of strength to build upon, and then I'll figure out maybe I want to get better at this lift specifically or that lift specifically. But the compound lifts that I primarily based my training around was the squat, the overhead press, and the bench press. Also the barbell row, excuse me. So with all of my training being oriented around increasing those lifts, when I started to handpick exercises that weren't compound lifts, so single joint movements, compound lifts are across 2 joints, but the most movements that you see people doing like curls and stuff, that's a single joint movement, only affects, so single joint movements. I added the single joint movements with the idea of increasing my compound lift. So for example, say you block your training into pushing movements, pulling movements, and then your legs. So if you want to get your bench press better, group with your pushing movements, you have to be able to increase your ability of your triceps to lock out. So any tricep extensions with a rope, push down, you have to be able to execute those type of range of motions. You can load them lightly or heavily. If you're going for endurance with the compound lifts, then load them lightly and bang away at the triceps. If you're going for strength, then load them more maximum. But single joint exercises aren't necessarily designed for loading, and that's why the compound lifts are the basis of your training, because you can load them heavily with little risk of injury with good form. So they're a great basis of training for most people. My actual goals was a 315 bench. I wanted to be able to squat 315 for reps. The overhead press, I wanted to hit 135 for reps. And the barbell row, I think I just wanted 225 for reps, something like that. I've actually shattered all of these goals. I haven't touched 315 benching in over a year, but I know for sure I could hit it. I've just been benching a lot lighter with a rep range of around 8 to 12, more of a hypertrophy rep range, because all of my training is based around hypertrophy at this point. No, I am not a bodybuilder, but my goal is to improve my physique and my overall wellness and well-being. So I keep those things in mind when I train. If y'all want to see me max out, blow this comment section up. I'm telling you, if this video is not viral, then I'm not maxing out. Like, I just have no reason to. I'm just gonna continue training like normal. Y'all got me messed up. Y'all ain't gonna get me hurt. And my video didn't even blow up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all blow the video up. Blow it up. Squatting. I just did 285, 3 sets of 10 yesterday. And I'm coming off of 3 ACL injuries, 3 knee surgeries, all fixed. The most recent one was almost 3 years ago now, though. So I'm almost 3 years removed. And now I'm stronger than I have ever been. My legs are stronger than they have ever been. And I'm still building upon my squat. if I had to guess, my bench is around 350-ish. My squat is around 405-ish right now. Based on the lifting challenge, go watch the video. Based on the lifting challenge, my bench is 350 and the squat is like 410, something like that. Like I said, if y'all want to see me hit these lifts, y'all know what to do. Blow up that like button, subscribe, comment. I need stupid views. I need stupid likes. I need stupid comments. Anything short will not get you this video. I'll just max out in like 4 years when nobody cares anymore. Now, contraindications for exercise. You're like, Robert, that's a big word. Don't nobody know what that means. What's a contraindication? Anything that needs to be considered before you get started. Injuries definitely need to be addressed. Obesity, it should be addressed, but I will detail what should be addressed about obesity in a second. And I'm gonna put obesity and body recomposition all in one. That'll be addressed together. Cardio, cardio, cardio. Important. Stay for the discussion. Injuries. So if you have ever been injured, you understand how frustrating it is trying to build back strength that you've already had and are trying to regain. So you're not building upon the foundation you made, you're trying to regain the foundation you had. And this is a very frustrating experience for most people. It was for me. Like I said, I've torn my ACL 3 times and had 3 knee surgeries. Injuries. Simply put, go to the doctor, ask them what they recommend, and get it done. If from that point you are unable to still complete compound lifts without physical therapy or anything like that, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to find other exercises to do. But if you can get your injuries fixed, please do. You don't want to limit your gains or training potential because you're afraid to do a couple of exercises from an injury you got years ago. Recover from the injury, return to the gym. Train everything else while you're recovering from the injury. Return to the gym full blown after you fully recover. If you can't fully recover due to expenses and things of that sort, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to work around it as well. But do your best to get to the doctor and address the issue. Now, fat and body recomposition. Obesity, I should say. If you are obese, keep in mind that you have been walking around in your shoes for a long time probably. Well, I'm not gonna tell you how long you've been walking in your shoes, but chances are you didn't put on all of this weight in 2 weeks. Same way you're not gonna lose the weight in 2 weeks. Your muscles become more adept at carrying this weight over time. So your muscles are stronger than when you were smaller. While your muscles are stronger, you should focus on more single joint movements, hopefully machines when gyms open back up. If you strength train and combine that with your normal cardio, just your normal cardio, your walks, your stair stepper, your elliptical, your bike, whatever you like to do, as long as you are training intensely and pushing yourself with the cardio, do normal strength training. I'm not gonna say just focus on the bro muscles, but I know that's what y'all gonna do. So please do some bicep curls, some standing dumbbell raises, some overhead press. Do whatever you like, at least initially, because it's better than nothing. Please do something. If you're gonna base it around science, then yes, you should be doing something in the action of pushing. So a chest, tricep, and shoulder focus movement and pulling, a mid-back, traps, focus movement, and something for your legs, quad and hamstring. Some type of hamstring curl or quad extension would suffice, but it's not ideal. But like I said, we're in an obese population, so you have to train up. Everybody should be focused on getting towards these compound lifts. If you don't like them, you just don't like them, you're not gonna do them anyway. But I suggest we should focus on these compound lifts because they're great ways to maximally load a large range of muscle groups that naturally work together. Like pushing movements, you load a bench press, your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps are expected to grow. That's just how it works. Weighted pull-ups, your lats will grow, your biceps hopefully will grow. Squats, hopefully your quads and your glutes grow. Overhead press, hopefully your shoulders, your traps, and your upper back experience gains. Again, you want to think about these lifts as how do I induce gains, not how do I have the most fun. Even though fun is very important, you should be having fun with your training. Your training should be as fun as possible. But at the end of the day, your goals are what you're trying to hit. So focus on the goals and less on the short term and more long term. Recomposition. So your body can, in fact, in a caloric deficit or surplus, build muscle in certain situations. And in some of those situations, you can also lose fat, be in the deficit, gain muscle and lose fat. You can be in a surplus and still be losing fat. A very slight surplus. Your chances of that are very slim, but it is possible. Now, this is just called recomposition. So you don't want to focus on the scale as much. You want to look in the mirror. Maybe in the last 3 months you've been training, the weight on the scale hasn't changed, but you put on 10 pounds of muscle and lost 10 pounds of fat. Very unlikely. You're not going to put on 10 pounds of muscle in a year. But those are the numbers that are easiest to crunch and run to people, so we're going to go with it. The point I'm trying to make is a lot more of us can, in a slight deficit, lose fat and still put on muscle. The only ones of us that can't are people who have completely rounded out physiques and have no weak points. No weak points as in not visual weak points, but muscular weak points. Like essentially a bodybuilder that like purposefully neglected some part of their body or were injured and then is attempting to add muscle to their frame. They can still build muscle too. But if you have no weak point, you cannot grow it without a caloric surplus. Follow me on that? That one's a little tricky. But basically, for most people, you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. So attempt to do so. Eat clean. There's no reason to dirty bulk it, gain 30 pounds and only 4 of them are muscle. You're just putting yourself through a lot more trouble than necessarily needs to be. Don't ask me, should you bulk or cut first? Get to your desired level of body fat while continuing your resistance training, and then continue to add muscle. Just continue to add muscle. There's no need to bulk and cut. I know people like bulking and cutting. It's controversial to say that bulking and cutting is not any more efficient at adding muscle than gaintaining or maintaining or whatever you want to call it. But maintaining is a hell of a lot easier. Like, it's a lot less complicated. If you're only gonna get an extra 0.3 pounds of muscle, half a pound of muscle from cutting and bulking, but it takes an extra 6 months than from gaintaining, then just gaintain. Like, what? Why is that so difficult? Why do people want to make it something magical when it's not? Cutting and bulking is not anything magical. Gaintaining does just as well in producing hypertrophy and strength gain. Cardio. Your heart is a muscle. Train it. Yes, you are training it when you do strength training, but you are not training it in the way that running will get your heartbeat up. Your heartbeat does not stay at a steady state during strength training. It's all over the place. Your blood pressure is all over the place. Everything's all over the place because you're going through peaks and valleys. When you do your Valsalva maneuver, bracing before a lift, that does increase your blood pressure drastically. It'll increase your heart rate during the lift and temporarily after. But it's not going to have the effect that cardio does. Therefore, your heart health can still be poor if you are training with weights. We see bodybuilders with ventricle sizes that do not match up with the way and style of their training that you would expect from somebody with that level of fitness, because there is no cardio component to their training. It's just straight resistance training. You should do some sort of aerobic activity, meaning an activity that requires vast amounts of oxygen for your body to continue it, and that will work your heart. And that goes for anybody. I say I hate running. I do hate running. I hate it with a passion. I wouldn't jog if somebody paid me. Like I said in the last video, please pay me.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
Anyway, from a biomechanist perspective, walking and sprinting are more advantageous than jogging, but jogging is great for cardio. So is walking and sprinting though. And somewhere in there is just the ugly little jogger. Hideous jogger. Y'all can take my word on that, or y'all can look it up. I don't care. I'm not gonna explain it to you. For me, personally, I'm just comparing my contraindication because that's the easiest thing to do, and I'm not gonna disclose any public information from somebody who doesn't want it out there. I had 3 ACL tears. Obviously, my legs were something that I had to work on big time with training. So I did, in fact, build my squat up from 0 after the last ACL tear. 3 years ago, I was squatting the bar, and now I can squat well over 400 pounds. Probably. I haven't tried to, but probably. I don't consider not getting an injury or limitation corrected a valid excuse for not training in a certain style. I still train intensely. I still train my legs as if nothing ever happened to them. I shouldn't be scared, because why would I go through the rehab and recovery if I didn't intend on using it to its full capability? Y'all feel me on that? Are y'all following me on that? If y'all want to see a 3 ACL tear video, a discussion, why you should still be playing sports even after injuries, extreme injuries, I would love to talk about it. Blow up my comment section with a 3 ACL tear response. I will make this video. Actually, I already made it, but I'll redo it just like how I had to redo this one. Plateaus. You're like, why do I need to think about a plateau? How resilient are you? Just on a scale of 1 to 10. Say you're going to the gym. You got a training partner. Your training buddy's like, hey, I can't make it today. Are you not going? If your answer is yes, you're the reason why I'm talking about plateaus right now. Your goals have to be something that you really want. There's gonna be days in the gym where you absolutely do not want to do anything. And then you walk out of there feeling like a machine, a well-oiled machine. You're like, I just executed this to the T, and I didn't even want to train today. How resilient are you? Even through a plateau. You walk into the gym, you got a lift you've been hyping yourself up for all week. You gotta hit 8 reps. Your first set, it goes great. Your second set, 7. You're like, this weight playing with me today. You like, this last third set, I'm gonna get this 8. You get 6. What do? You stop doing that lift, you quit, or you try that weight again next week? And the week after that. And the week after that, if need be. More than 2 weeks, you might want to deload and try that again. Something's wrong. Something's wrong if you're stuck for more than 3 weeks. But 3 attempts. 3 attempts, and I would rethink my strategy of how I want to target my strength goal, if that's your goal. Completing the reps is the goal, because you set a monetary value, the number, 8 reps of this weight that you want to hit. So your body knows the tension, and suddenly it's unable to produce that amount of force to execute through those reps. Reps aren't as important as you think they are. It's more about the fatigue on your body. But this is the importance of having personal goals for your lifting. If you hit a plateau, you're like, okay, I'm gonna just try it again next week. It's okay, I'm not gonna let it get the best of me. You fail again. This can get you down. Like, y'all have no idea. This can get you in a training slump. Next week, try again. Next week, try again. There's only so many weeks before it becomes more of a programming issue than a strength issue. Your body should adapt to it after a couple of weeks, and you should be able to hit the weight. If not, then you need to restructure your program. Now, I'm gonna have to cut this video off here. Part 2 will be up next week. Actually, I think I will have it scheduled to upload. That way y'all know it is coming. Go to robertjohnsonfitness.com for coaching, nutritional plans, training programs, anything that may be on your mind. Please give me a like, subscribe, comment about anything confusing down below.